Hi there, this is Shrikant Sari. So in this lesson, we are going to learn about the very basic, simple calculator application using the JavaScript. Okay, so to develop this, I have just used Visual Web Developer 2005 Express Edition. So although it is not the greatest and latest tool or IDE to develop web applications or to write some JavaScript code, but this is a very lightweight and it is very good fantastic tool which I used to use back in the days of my graduation around 2006 or 2007 in those days. Okay, so now everybody uses visual web developer or visual so many latest tools came from Microsoft. Okay, so for this tutorial, our intention is to develop a simple JavaScript calculator. So for this purpose, I'm just using this tool. Okay, so anything. So we have a wide variety of tools, latest tools like NetBeans or Eclipse, or you can do the same piece of code in those tools also, which might work the same. Okay, excuse me. Okay, so now, okay, so first I have just created a project here. So you can go to File, a new website, and you can create an empty website. Check the option of empty website and you can click OK, and obviously you'll get simple file system based simple web application gets created here. Okay, so I'm just adding a new item here. So first and foremost I will add an HTML page here. Okay, so don't worry about all the syntax here. So this is not up to the latest HTML5 syntax. The doc type does not belong to HTML5. So if you want, you can change. Nothing happens here. Okay, let me keep it the same thing. Whatever the IDE gives by default, everything here. Okay. So here the beauty of this tool is that it has a design part also. So you don't get this feature in the most advanced or latest tools from NetBeans or Eclipse are also. Okay, so nobody does as great as Microsoft while building tools here. Okay, so if you go to design part here in the bottom, if you click here design part, and if you come out of the full screen once here, and if you go to if you take the option of toolbox here, and you have you can straight away design web pages here. Okay, so if you want, you can write some text on your web page. You can, I'm just putting a huge text here. Let me say the enter a or something like this colon, and I can give some space here and double click text box here. So if you have a wide variety of buttons here or input type elements here. Okay, so if you double click on the text box appears here straight away, and if you click enter a couple of times, and you can have another text here, enter p, enter b, and so on and so forth, and you can have a couple of a simple space here, and you can just double click the text button once again here. Okay, and you can have another third one for calculating the result here. Okay, so result, and you can have the colon, and you can have a space or a couple of spaces here, and you can again double click on the text button here. Okay, so if you want, you can make it a quite a bit bigger, or you can change the size and keep on drag. Okay, or width or height or whatever it is. Okay, so you can increase the width in this way or the other, or else if you want more width for your result, you can do it also. Okay, so if you want a little bit space here, you can do all those things, and if you want, you can click enter a couple of times. And now my intention is to perform all the basic arithmetic operations like addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, and modulo. Okay, and now let me take all the four buttons here. If I keep on clicking the button thing for 5 times here. Okay, so I get all the 5 buttons here. If I want, I can change the size a bit here. Let me keep it 64 pixels, which is a good sign. Okay, I hope it's 64. Let me check here once again. Okay, it's 64. Okay, so let me change the size of the others as well to 64. Okay, 64. I'm just dragging. Okay, so you can do it, very handy tool here. Okay, so it's sometimes it's waste our time also if you fix some value 64. So whatever it is, just to make it a bit uniform here. Okay, 64, and let me drag it once again to 64, and let me drag it to 64 too. Okay, okay, okay. Sometimes we miss the value. You can give the value if you are not tired of dragging the buttons here, you can click on the properties, and if you come down here, somewhere around you have this style. Okay, here we go. Okay, so here if you click 64 here and you press enter, automatically the size gets changed here. Okay, so if you want to check the source code generated until now, if you go to the source part, okay, so this is the source code generated by the IDE or the design part. This is the source code generated by this tool, Visual Web Developer, in the background. Okay, so we need not worry about all these things here. Okay, so we need not worry about all the code here. It's automatically gets generated. Our part is to just focus on the the design part only. Okay, so if you want, you can change the background color of your so what we call just a second, BG color. If you want to change to a good color, so see the BG color has also been changed here. And if you go to the source part, and automatically the corresponding changes will be applied here. Okay, so although the syntax is not very late compliant to the latest standards of HTML5, so no need to worry about things. So here our focus is about entirely on doing the JavaScript thing here. Okay, so okay, the HTML doesn't matter to us. Okay, so here we go. We have everything here that we need to change the name or the value of the buttons here. Okay, so to do that, let me go once again to the properties window here. Okay, so if I increase the size a bit here, so, okay, I'm just increasing its length here. So here we go. If you just right click on the button, and if you click on the properties, and here you have the value thing here. Okay, so let me change it to add. Okay, so let me go to the second one here. Let me go to properties once again. Let me come down here, and let me change it to sub or subtraction, which means subtraction or difference, whatever it is you can keep. And properties, let me say it as mul or multiplication. Okay, multiplication, and let me take this also. So properties, and let me change the value to what we call division. Okay, and next let us change the last one to modulus or reminder or rem, so whatever based on the convenience of the can keep here. Okay, so we have everything here. So now our duty is write the code here. Okay, so write the code in the sense, so what happens if you want to see what happens until now here. If you go to the run button here, okay, so there is an awesome thing here. If you automatically have configured here in such a way that automatically the output pops up in Chrome here. Okay, it enters into the debugging mode. Excuse me. So this is the HTML we have created so far, a beautiful small calculator of entering the various digits and just calculating the result here. Okay, so let me close it and come back to our let me stop the debugging here a bit. Okay, so now our intention is to, when we click on the add button, so let me run it once again here. Okay, so if I run here, nothing happens here. If I click on these buttons, nothing happens here because we haven't written any JavaScript code. Okay, so if something happens, a function should be get called here. Okay, so on button click, there is an event here. So if what I do is, let me close this once again and let me come out of the debugging mode here. And if we double click on this function, okay, so what happens here is automatically the function gets created here, and on that button click, so automatically the function gets added here. Okay, so on click event has been added automatically by our IDE, and on click the return button click function. Okay, so whatever the button click function returns the value that is cached here. Okay, so this thing, so automatically all this code, if you go back to your design part and you double click, keep on double clicking for all the buttons here, so automatically so all the buttons have their corresponding functions here. Okay, so we have totally 5 functionalities here in the design part. So for each and everything I have just double clicked on the button, and automatically the function gets created in the JavaScript. Okay, so our duty is to just place the code here. Okay, so if you observe here, if you are familiar with the syntax of JavaScript, so automatically what happens here is on the button, so automatically what happens here is return button click. Okay, so whatever the value we send from there, or whatever the function gets invoked here automatically. Okay, Let me go to full screen once again here on button 1 dot click. Okay, so here our intention, let me take two variables here. Let me say where x is equal to, okay, so just write see the code and I will tell you. So parse int of, okay, so parse int of document dot get element by id of, so id is very important thing here. Okay, so by default the id of the text box is text1 here. Okay, so let me put that in quotations here. Okay, so text1, the id is text1 dot value. Okay, so dot value. Okay, so where x contains that value, and let me copy the whole thing once again here and let me paste it here where y. Okay, so let me do the same thing with the variable y here. Okay, so where y, let me take here text2. I will explain you why I'm taking all these things here like this. And now text3 dot value is equal to x plus y. Okay, so now why I have taken like this parse int dot get element by id, document dot get element by id within that quotations of text1, because so here our intention is to, so let me run the application here once again. So if I put some value here like 1, and if put some another value here too, if I click here add, okay, so nothing is happening here, so there's a small mistake somewhere. Okay, so here we have just missed the braces here. Okay, so that's the reason it's not worked here. So let me run the application once again here. So what I'm doing is I'm just supplying some values here, 1 and 2, and if I click on the add button, so corresponding result must be calculated and placed in the result text box here. Okay, so all this happened because of our JavaScript. So this statement, okay, so in the first statement here we are getting the value from the text box 1 here. Okay, so let me take the application, or let me run once again. Let me run it once again and keep it on this side here. Okay, so here so if you observe here the first text box, so here we have taken the value from the first text box and we have converted that into an integer. Okay, so we have converted that into an integer and stored in the variable x here. Okay, and the same thing we have done for this also. So we have taken the whatever the value stored. So by default JavaScript treats the value whatever you are giving inside the text box as string. Okay, so now if you want to perform arithmetic operations on the value supplied, so you need to automatically convert those strings into integers. Okay, so only then it's possible to do the arithmetic operations. Okay, or else, so if you don't do the parse int thing, so automatically the strings get concatenated and placed in the result box. Okay, so let me show you that if you don't, what happens if you don't do. So let me do that once again here. Okay, so without the parse int. Okay, so let me if I remove the parse int here, see if I remove the parse int, it does, that application doesn't work the same as you think here. Okay, so I'm just sorry statement. Okay, so if I remove this braces and all, so now see what happens here if I go back to the application and reload it once again. Okay, so if I 1 and 2, if I'm putting two values, so look what happens here. Okay, so just the two things got concatenated here. Okay, so you are getting the concatenated results here because so the JavaScript treats the whatever the value you are giving inside the text box by default as string, and those if you are the plus operator becomes a concatenation. Okay, so if you are supplying the strings to the plus operator as arguments or as operands, sorry, so they get concatenated. Okay, so it's your duty. So if your intention is to perform arithmetic operations, you need to convert that string by using the parse int. Okay, so into an integer and then give it to the variable. Okay, so let me put it back, the parse int thing here. So parse int, you need to be careful, the I is capital here and the whole thing must be enclosed into braces here, parentheses here. Okay, the same parse int once again. So parse int, and let us enclose the whole thing in parentheses here. Okay, so now go back to your application and reload once again, and you get the result. If you give some values, not just 222 or 333, whatever it is, and you get click add and you get perfect result here. Okay, so let us complete the whole application here. Let me come out of the debugging mode here, and let me let me take the whole code here. Okay, so let me take the whole code. The code doesn't change here. Okay, so every time the code is the same, and just we need to change the operation here. Okay, so let me the code got clumsy here. Let me format the code here. Okay, for format selection, so automatically the IDE formats our code in a good position here. Okay, so now so let us change the operators here such that we get the exact thing here. Okay, go to full screen here once again. So button 2, according to our application, is supposed to be subtraction here. Okay, so let me put that minus operator. I think it's multiplication. And button 3 we have, and I think it's division, and I think the last but not the least is reminder. Okay, so please close it and save it, and now come out of the full screen and just execute the program here. Okay, so you get the page here. Let me supply the values here, 2, 3, and let me check the division. Perfect, 0.666 is okay. So let me say 22 by 7. Let us do division once again. So 3.142857, 1428571, 143. So up till 15 decimals it's giving the value here. Okay, so that is the default, because in JavaScript, once again I'm doing the recap thing here, it's double. Okay, so when it comes to floating point, JavaScript treats them as double, okay, by default. Okay, and if you give even though you are giving integers, you get the decimal results here. Okay, so that is the specialty of JavaScript. This is not going, if you are doing these kind of results, you will get only this as result in other languages. Okay, so you can perform all the basic operations for this calculation. Okay, so in this way so you can build a simple calculator app using the JavaScript, using an amazing tool called as Visual Web Developer. I'll try to put the links to download this in the description section. Okay, so if you people please comment in the comment section. I will put the link for this software to download as a reply. Okay, that's a better thing to do. So let me come out of the debugging thing. Let me run the application once again. Let me keep it inside of the thing and close it, the tutorial. That's it for today. See you in the next lesson. Goodbye.